Wondering how your mindset affects your life? How to bring more energy into your business and life? Millions of people around the world ask these same questions daily. You are in the right place. Learn practices that will help give your life the meaning and success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Charge Podcast, teaching you how to create habits around real goals every day. Practical life advice from those who made it. Here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
This sponsorship break brought to you by the Ascend Mastermind. In the midst of complexity of leading your business, new challenges are introduced almost every single day. It can leave you feeling disorganized, distracted, and downright confused. It doesn't have to be this way. We believe everyone should have the ability to reach their full potential in business and life. Make the time to invest in your business because it's time to kill the grind and find new flexibility and success. You don't have to do it alone. The Ascend Mastermind Peer Advisory Board will give you access to other like-minded individuals to share your challenges with and hold you accountable. It will help you move from stagnant to growth and give you more freedom in your business and life. To learn more how to apply, go to chargepodcast.com and click on the link, The Ascend Mastermind. Welcome, Chargers. I'm glad to have you back for another podcast. Can you believe this first quarter is going fast? But 2022, the key is, what do you do with it? Remember, we're about creating habits around real goals every day. So Chargers, I've got a topic that I think you're going to really enjoy. But before we get into it, I want Joey to share with us, what problem will you solve for our Chargers today?
Oh, so simple. 3 simple steps to financial freedom through passive income.
Wow, I love that. 3 simple steps to financial freedom through passive income. And I love passive income, so I know this is going to be a great topic. Now, share with us also, Joey, 3 questions that you're going to really answer for our audience today as they listen to the podcast.
All right. So in this order, we're going to cover what are those 3 steps. Number 2, what is the infinite banking concept? And number 3, how does all of this help you stop trading time for money?
Oh, this is a good one. So it doesn't matter if you're a business owner or an individual. This is one of those podcasts, I'm telling you, you're going to take something away. So I'm so excited to share Joey Mure with you. But before I do, I want to share with you a little bit about his company so you get the understanding of where we're going. It's Wealth Without Wall Street. It's an online community that seeks to re-educate business owners and families how money truly works. Wall Street is not just a street in New York that puts America's money at risk, but is also a commonly taught mindset. The Wall Street mindset separates both families and business owners from their money while others get to use it for their advantage. Our goal is to teach these same people a better way to grow wealth that is without Wall Street in their control. The secret to doing this is having your money work for you, not someone else. You can achieve this through passive income sources without Wall Street. They educate the American business owners and families on how to achieve financial freedom through blogs, downloadable resources, and their podcast, the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. So Joey Mure is with us today. He's a founder and partner at Wealth Without Wall Street. He brings impact, integrity, and generosity to the company every day. He hopes to be remembered as a lover of Jesus, devoted husband, and a faithful father. Joey, it is great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Oh man, my pleasure. I always love being in the place where we're all on the same mindset. It makes it so good.
Yes, this is going to be a great conversation. As we were talking offline about passive income, I've been down this path and I believe in this path. And I think the key is really getting people to understand that they can have that opportunity. But let's jump in, because I think really the first question really sets our foundation for us. And it is, what are those 3 steps to financial freedom that we should consider?
Well, and the good news is this isn't the only time you're going to have to hear this. You're going to be able to actually buy our book at some point this year. This is accountability. I'm putting this out there. By the summer of 2022, we will have this book completed and ready for you to purchase. But I digress. In the meantime, think about it like this. Financial freedom is a destination. And if you try to pull up your Maps app on your phone right now and put in no destination, how fast are you going to get there? It's impossible, right? The app that you have is worthless without a destination. And so we've created these 3 steps to be your GPS. All right. It may sound corny, but GPS, you have to have a goal, you have to have a plan, and you have to have support. And if you get all 3 of those, your route to financial freedom is just like when you pull up and you put in that destination and it tells you fastest route, right? You usually sets out 3 or 4 different ideas of ways to get to your destination, but one of them always says the fastest. That's our goal with Wealth Without Wall Street, is to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be, which is financial freedom, as fast as possible. And I'm happy to break each one of those down, or whatever you want to do.
I think we should, because, one thing, the podcast is create habits around real goals every day. And I'm a firm believer, if you don't have a goal, number one, you don't know where you're going.
100%.
So the problem is you can't get there. So let's break those down and really dig into what you mean there, because I think that'll help our audience truly understand the set that destination that they want to reach.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, so I'll start with this. Most people, when they hear Wealth Without Wall Street, they say, man, it sounds interesting. Like, what do you invest in? Like, that's the first thing that they say. And the real thing that I do is I stop and I say, the investment doesn't matter until you know where you're headed. One of our coaches at Wealth Without Wall Street was previously a pilot. And he tells us this story. He says, I can help you pack if you tell me where you're headed. But if you don't tell me where you're headed, it doesn't matter. I could totally pack your suitcase with the wrong things. And so what we did is we said, there's an epidemic, I believe, amongst small business owners, amongst individuals and families, that they never have really stopped to think about what is it that they truly want. What does financial freedom look like for them? Because honestly, I don't believe that they believe it's possible. I think that Wall Street, big banks, and corporate America have taught us that our only route is just to kind of keep our head down, work hard, grind it out for 40 years, and look up, and hopefully that money that we were kind of penny pinching away into our 401ks is enough that we don't live on dog food the rest of our lives. And to be honest, I want to challenge that right now and say, why isn't financial freedom available to you today? Why don't you have your 9 to 5 hours to choose what you want to do with them? And it's the reason is, this is the baseline, is you have to get really clear on your goal. And so we created, actually, if it's okay, Gary, I may share this. Sure. We created a course to help people get out of the busyness of life, to sit down and actually think and plan, what does financial freedom look like for us? We call it the Passport Challenge, right? So if you want to go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/passport, you get free access to the course and free access to our community. It's an online app that we created. It's over 5,000 members strong. And these are all people on the same journey as you, trying to get the financial freedom and helping and encouraging each other along the way. But once you do that course, you'll know who you want to be, what you want to do and or stop doing, and what you will have when you get to financial freedom, so that when you arrive, you'll recognize the destination. That is the first step. Get that goal in place. Make sure it's crystal clear and keep it in front of you, because I know I haven't even listened to all of your shows, Gary, but I can assure you, you've probably taught on the fact of visualization and keeping things in front of you is literally a switch will go off that will make things happen.
Yeah, it's a game changer. And that's the hardest part to get people to realize. And so many people say, yeah, but I've thought about this. But when you write it down, there's something about the pen and paper. And I actually heard a neurologist one time talks about how our thumb is actually connected to our brain. And when we write it down, it changes it. but it really allows you to understand that. And I love how you set it up with the GPS. It really allows that part of it. So share with us, as they kind of create that goal, then that course kind of gives them, and like you said, it's free to be able to create their plan.
Exactly. So the next step is the plan. And again, I go back to that whole idea of the investment. Most people, again, still get it out of line. And they say, oh, I want to invest in this because it has a good rate of return. Well, that may be exactly what you need. But what does the cash flow created from it? Because here's the deal. Financial freedom happens when your passive income exceeds your monthly expenses. Let me say that one more time because it sounds really simple, and it is. It's hard to get there, but it's a simple formula. When your passive income exceeds your monthly expenses, then you have the ability to tell your time what you will do with it. Before then, someone else has to dictate that to you, whether it's your clients and customers of your small business, or it's your boss. If you're at a 9-to-5 right now, someone else is dictating what your time gets spent on. So our goal is to get that passive income to exceed your monthly expenses. And it has to be through some investment type, but our plan starts with, who are you as an investor? In fact, we have an assessment that we created called the Investor DNA. And it attaches, it's super simple and easy to go through it, but it's so revealing because it will tell you, who am I as an investor? And then it will match you up. We have a matrix of about 8 different passive income ideas, along with the pros and the cons and all the resources available and necessary to make that investment successful, either as a side hustle first or as a full-time done for you kind of passive income idea. So once you go through that part of the plan, now you're confident. Okay. So having that goal, knowing what sort of investor you are and how it matches up to these different passive income ideas, that gives you all the confidence in the world to start then aligning your assets and your cash flows to get to that goal. Before then, have you ever thought, I don't want to put money into this investment or this investment because I just don't understand it, or I'm not confident about the end? That's because you haven't got those things aligned, right? But once those two things are aligned, then you can start getting super strategic. And that's where people start having results like 18 to 24 months after they start this process, telling their boss, hey, by the way, I appreciate it, but I won't be coming back. Right? We had a school teacher who told her school, I won't be coming back in the fall because I'm financially free. One of our coaches was a pilot. He literally just quit his job as a pilot in December, and he's pursuing what he wants to do, not what he has to do. Anyway, I could keep going on, but that's when you align those two things, it's ridiculously powerful. And that's where that third step comes in.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that. But before we do, I want to really set this up, because the thing that you're really doing is, by having the goal and plan, you're getting yourself you're recognizing what that is. You're seeing what the roadmap is. And I tell you, this is the same thing with goal setting. If you want to lose weight, or if you want to grow your business, or whatever it is that you want to do, it's about setting those goals to be able to achieve it. But the thing that I love what you talked about is, when we know what we have a plan, we're not using someone else's plan. And that's what I'm always cautious about, because so many people think, well, that's what, my financial advisor, they tell me what I need to do. And not all financial advisors are like this. So I'm not putting it in a bucket. But the thing is, you've got to know what is your best interest, because they have best interest. There's fee only advisors. And of course, there's other style of advisors that by what products they sell you, that's how they make money. So if you don't have a goal and plan, that becomes a problem. And I'm kind of curious how you come into this then with support of how that makes it.
And let me throw this out there. So Gary, I don't want to get on a diatribe on financial advisors, but what is the goal of a financial advisor? They want to manage your money in what ways? As long as you will let them. That's literally, I sat in a bank one time and I was explaining to him what we do. And I was telling him about this infinite banking concept, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit here. And he was like, oh man, that's really good. I think that would work well, because then we could have the money from people for generations. That's how he thought about it. And I was thinking, no. This actually gets you to financial freedom as fast as possible, which would be totally counterintuitive to any financial advisor. And just try this if you don't believe me. Go to your financial advisor and be like, hey, I learned about this short-term rental course, and I want to use, $100,000 to get this business started where I can make $800 a bedroom every single month, to create financial freedom for myself in the next 24 months, and see how excited the financial advisor is about that investment idea.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen. He's going to talk you out of it, because it goes against how he gets paid, and it's not aligned. So anyways, my point is when you start on this path, financial advisors really don't have a whole lot of place with you, because you are blazing your own trail and you're creating your own passive income and financial freedom today. So anyways, I didn't mean to digress, but
not a problem. I'm glad you clarified and set that up, because I think they need to know. And that's the thing. Your financial freedom comes from what you do. And
no
so
doubt.
many people rely on the others, but we do have to have a support system, and you have that built into your system. So share us how support comes into the GPS.
Well, I mean, look around you right now. How many people do you know that are financially free? It's a small number, if you know anybody. And the reason is that most people don't know that. This is kind of like you're getting behind the scenes, you're getting a secret that if you start talking about it to all those people that aren't financially free, what are they going to say?
You can't do that.
Gary, where did you get this from? Who told you that they must, those guys, they're just blowing smoke.
That's crazy.
There's no way that happens. And so we consider it like crabs in a barrel. You ever see crabs in a barrel? They're always, one of them starts to get out of the barrel, and what happens? It gets pulled down by the other crabs. Yep. That is what our current communities look like. And it's not, I mean, they're not doing it on purpose. It's just kind of built into them. And so you've got to surround yourself with people and mentors and coaches who can get you to your goal. People who have been where you want to be. I mean, when have you ever asked somebody who has not done whatever your job is? Like, let's just say you're an HVAC person, and you go to them and you say, hey, I really need to learn how this system works over here. Would you ever ask somebody who doesn't work on and have experience in the HVAC world with that system? No, that's ludicrous. Like, it would be a waste of your time and theirs. It'd be like, why are you asking me this? I have no idea. The same should be true when it comes to your own personal finance. So anyways, long story, we created this online community. It's an app on your phone. And when you go to that wealth.wallstreet.com/passport, you get access to it. You just have to download the app for your phone after that. And again, you're surrounded by people that may not be doing the same exact strategy as you. Maybe they're doing land flipping. Maybe they're doing ATM investing, or maybe they're doing real estate. But they're all on the same path to get to financial freedom as fast as possible. And they're supporting you when you say, hey, I just did this. They're like, that's awesome. Like, have you thought about this? And now you're getting, encouragement, not being drawn back into that barrel.
Yeah. What a great concept. I love that. As really that GPS is setting it up. But I think we set the foundation. So now I'm really curious, and you told us you would share with us kind of what the infinite banking concept is. And it kind of makes me intrigued myself. So I hope the listeners are the same way as I am.
Well, the infinite banking concept is something that I read in a book in 2010. It was a gift from actually my now business partner, Russ. He said, hey, I'm going to start referring you business, but only if you read this book. And, I was in the mortgage business at the time. And I was like, okay, well, I'll read a book. In fact, he charged me $20 for it. Actually, I said it was a gift, but he actually charged me. I still remember that. And, but I'm grateful because it actually made me read it. And what it did is it taught me all the things that I'm talking about today, that your money should never be apart from you, right? putting money into a 401k, into an IRA, into all these various different REITs and other things that people will tell you is good for you is actually separating you from your money. And it's doing another thing. It's turning off the creativity of your brain, right? God has gifted you with your so many different resources. And what part of that resource is your knowledge and your experience, that what you do right now. And if you had excess capital, you would actually come up with a lot more different ideas on how to create cash flow. I'm confident because I see this every day in our community. But what happens when we do put money away into these other things for quote unquote retirement, we shut that part of our brain off. And if you don't believe me, just think about this. How much do you have in those accounts right now? And when was the last time you sat down with your 401k statement and thought, man, I wonder what I should invest this money in? It never happens because you can't dictate what that money even gets invested in. Even if it's in your own company, which you have the most knowledge about and the most control over, and you could grow it if you had that excess capital, and it's literally sitting there behind bars. And it's waiting on you to turn 60 or above to get access to it. But when you want financial freedom today, you have to start putting money into a place you can leverage and use today. So infinite banking is a process of taking your capital, putting it into a location that you own and control. Now, it happens to be at the place where banks put their money. And most people don't know this, but look up any of your banks, okay? Any bank you bank with, go to fdic.gov and look on their balance sheet. And I figured this out when I worked at Wells Fargo, by the way. They put $18 billion into cash value life insurance, high cash value life insurance with mutual companies. That's where banks put their money. So all we do is we mimic what they do, and we design a policy specifically for cash that you then use to put into this area to then leverage into all these passive income ideas that we talk about on our show that creates financial freedom today. And the power of that, Gary, is it's really hard to put into words, but going from where I was in the corporate world at Wells Fargo doing mortgages to putting money away into a place that I could now start to touch and use and access, it catapulted me into now Russ and I together. We actually report on this every single month. We do our passive income report, and we average between 45 and 65,000 a month in the various different places that we've put our capital to work to create passive income. So this is what's possible. And we've been slow studies, okay, over the last 10 years, slow studies. The people that come in our community now get to learn from our mistakes and get there so much faster because they're able to learn from our, the places where we bumped our heads and went too slow. So anyway, just that's what infinite banking is for me. And we set these up for our clients and help them to utilize them towards their own goals of financial freedom.
Yeah, I think great conversation and great concept, because when you're not sure where your money is, of course, you're kind of sitting on the sidelines with it. Instead, this gets you into the game. And really, it applies to everybody that's listening, because it doesn't matter if you're a business owner or if you're an individual, this 100%. Applies so well to that. So one of the things you mentioned is your third question you really share with us, and you kind of gave hints of it along the way, but we haven't really dug into that. How do you really stop trading that time for money to be able to allow our passive income, as you say, to be greater than our monthly expenses?
Well, that really is the key. That's ultimately the climax, right? Once I have focused in on my goal and I've created a plan that utilizes these different passive income strategies, and my capital is in a place I'm owning and controlling and using to get there, at that point where that passive income exceeds my monthly expenses, I'm no longer required to trade my time for money. Now, you may choose to, right? We have people that love what they do every day. and they need something active to do because they've got this other passive income in the background and it's just rocking on, but they really love what they do. The difference is the have to, right? And I'll end it with this quick story. I was driving my daughter to school one day. She was probably 3 at the time. And it was rare because normally I was so busy going in the mortgage business, 80 hours a week practically. And I would never have the time to drop her off at school. And so anyways, we're driving and she says, "Dad, you gonna pick me up today?" And I was like, "No, baby, your mom's gonna pick you up." She's like, "Why are you not gonna pick me up?" And I was like, "Because I have to go to work." And she says, "Why you have to go to work?" I said, "Well, because I have to make money. I have to pay, I have to pay for things." She says, "What do you have to pay for?" And I said, "A car. I got to pay for the house and food and all these things." And she says, "Well, we already have a house. We already have a car." Like, she's just questioning me like, you can't be true. The point is, it was a simple conversation. And maybe you've had one similar to that with your kids. But the impact for me was that I said, I have to go to work. And that was because I didn't have the passive income at the time. And that's the anchor that's in the back of my brain that drove me. And I came back and I told Russ, I said, I got to get serious about passive income. And it changes today. And that's what I want to call you to, is that if you've ever felt that way, right? I don't want to keep trading time for money. I know my time is more valuable than I'm being paid for right now. Then let's do something about it, right? Get clear on this and take action like I did.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that's the key. And it's that have to. Boy, when you get to this morning, I'm very fortunate. I'm in one of them spots. I get to do what I want. I love doing these podcasts and sharing information, but I want that for my listeners. I want that for 100%. The chargers. I want that for those small business owners that are struggling in the last couple of years. It's been tough being that business owner. I want you to have that opportunity, but you have to work on it. It's creating the GPS system, and then Wealth Without Wall Street is giving you some of the tools. And when we're talking about passive income, there's more than one way.
100%.
I've been fortunate. I've done it with some rental properties, as Russ and Joey and I talked offline. But the thing is, there's other ways to do it. And that's what they share with you in their community. So that's one thing I would tell you, is definitely go check out their website and the information and sign up, because you said that the course for the GPS, that's free.
That's right. Yeah. There is one fee for the Investor DNA tool, because we do get charged for those actual reports. But beyond that, it's free.
Yeah. So get signed up on it. And this is one of those areas. It's the first quarter of 2022. And I know people are thinking about, how can I change that day-to-day routine? And if anything's happened over the last 2 years, this pandemic has told us we don't want to trade time for dollars. I mean, we want more capability. Just think, if you set up your passive income, it gives you the capability. If you wanted to do remote work, you can create remote work. There's so many different opportunities available today that was never before that was available to us. So, Joey, I truly appreciate you coming on and sharing your information. Can you share with them? We've given them the website, but go ahead and give it again, and how, if they want to connect with your all's company and connect with you, they can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/passport. And again, that will give you access to the community and the course. And then you can download the app, so you're on your phone getting notifications, and you can actually message me directly in the app and just let me know that you heard me on the show. And I always love to connect with people there. And then subsequently, if they ever want to meet with a coach, we do have a free 15-minute call within the app that they can set up. So any way you want to connect with us from there, that's just where we live.
Yeah, I would tell you, go check it out, because I've checked out their website. A lot of great information there that you can get a hold of. Before I let you go, Joey, I got to ask you 2 quick questions to get you that I ask every guest. First is that charge. You've talked a little bit about goals, but create habits around real goals every day. What habit do you think has led to success in your life?
I would say this. I'm grounded in my faith, and I know that having time with the Lord each day is super important. I'm not perfect at it by any means, but I know it's important. And what that's driven me to do is realize I have so much to grow and to learn. And so it's always helped me to have mentors and coaches. And so I just want to encourage you, like, it's not necessarily a daily habit, but knowing that you have so much room to grow and that I can borrow someone else's experience and wisdom to get to where I want to be so much faster when I use that coach and when I use that mentor. And those relationships are just things that I cherish.
Yeah, that becomes a big one. And when you give yourself some time in that spiritual time, number one, a lot of revelation comes out because the Lord speaks to you. But most of the time, the problem is we don't listen well because we're always so busy.
Exactly.
So glad you shared that. The last one is we all wished we had a do-over. We've all had a failure. What's your do-over that if you had to do it over again, you would change that?
Man, I'm fortunate that my do-over came as a result of changing careers. I went to my wife when I was really fired up about this concept, and I had been doing it for 4 years as a client, and I went to her and I said, hey, I feel like God's telling me I should be out here teaching people this stuff. Like it's kind of a secret. Like I want to get the word out. And she was like, yeah, you absolutely should do it. And this was crazy because I was making over $300,000 a year in the mortgage business, and she didn't work. She was pregnant with our fourth daughter at the time. And I remember being dumbfounded that she would just immediately respond like that. And years later, like initially I was like, oh man, she must really believe in me. And, I'm the man,
Yeah.
And then, several years later, after I'd been doing this for a while, I went to her, I said, what was going through your brain whenever I asked you that? And she said, you know what, Joey? She said, be honest, you were so distant from our family because you were working all the time and your brain never shut off for work. She's like, if you would have told me you were going to be a garbage man, I would have said, yeah, you should do it. Because she said, all I wanted you back. And I had been praying that God would get you out of whatever job you were in so that we could have you back. And man, like that, that took the wind out of me, of course. But then I was like immediately grateful too, that was my do-over. Like God gave me an opportunity. I was blind to the fact that I was, working so hard for my family. I can't do any better than this. And in the meantime, my marriage was crumbling and I didn't realize it. So being able to have a second chance at that was amazing.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I know there's others that's going to impact somebody, but that's in the listening today, that they have some of them same challenges, because it could be a business owner that we're so entrenched of trying to survive in the business and we're losing the things that's most important to us. My company name is Ascend Business Strategies, Joey, and there's a reason. Ascend is not climbing to the top of the mountaintop and being there alone. Ascend is about how many people can I bring along to that? Because I was on a similar journey, and in 2006 did a spiritual retreat, and I truly believe saved me and saved my marriage, because I was on that same path. I was driving for success, and it's not about success. It's about significance. What do you want to create in your life? So I truly appreciate the information you shared and your expertise. And I really, hope people, if they're interested, go check it out. There's no obligation. The one thing I love what they do is they allow you to get into the course and you set your GPS, and then you can decide where you go from there. But really, how do you want to change that? Passive income makes a difference. And I love your philosophy of, when you create that passive income and it's greater than your monthly expenses, I'm telling you, it's a great feeling. And as Joey said, it's a very small number of the percentage of United States people and really across the country that are in that capability. And you can do it. There is ways to do it. And there's easier ways now than there was 10, 20 years ago.
100%. Yep, no doubt.
Joey, thank you for joining us today. And Chargers, I hope you take action. The action I want you to think about is, do you have your goal? Do you have your GPS set? Make the plan and then get the support that you need. If it's Joey and his team, then go there. If it's not, get the team that you need to have, but have that support to allow you to reach your goals, because I want you to be chargers in business and life. And when we do that, we become a different person. And that's the really key in success to life. Thanks for joining us, Chargers. We'll be back here next week with another great guest. Make sure you like and share this podcast with others, because I'm sure it's a very interesting topic. And you've got 3 friends. If you would do me a favor and share this podcast with them, it may start an interesting conversation. Then you get together with them over a cup of coffee and have a nice conversation about it. How could you create some passive income? Make it a great day, Chargers. We'll see you next week.
This podcast is ended, but your life doesn't just stop. To continue your inspiring journey, head over to chargepodcast.com and access all the tools and resources mentioned on today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing with somebody who may also benefit from the advice provided. That's chargepodcast.com. Until next time, charge in business and life.